So you need to make sure you keep your stitches close together, or the tooth is going to fall out. And then the tooth fairy's going to be sad because she's not going to be able to find it, and you're going to be sad. You don't want to be sad. Hi friends, it's Miss Hazel.
And Miss Kate.
And a little friend with me today, my tooth fairy pillow. I've lost all my teeth and my big teeth have come in, but I am around little friends that lose their teeth all the time.
Almost every day we have someone with a loose tooth at least.
Yes. I didn't know, I have a daughter who's 26, I didn't know there was such a thing as a tooth fairy pillow, but they're kind of fun. So look at this tooth fairy pillow. So here, I've made this myself and I'm going to show you how to do it. And check out the pillow, the little pocket in the back for the tooth. So you could, if your tooth falls out, then you take it and you put it inside its little pillow in a little pocket, and then you could put that in your bed so that the tooth fairy will have an easier time finding you and your tooth.
That's a good idea.
Isn't it cute? First you're going to do, so I had to figure out in my head, like, what's a tooth look like? So I went and I used my brain and said, what does a tooth look like? Then I found a little piece of paper because I thought, your teeth are little. You could make a big pillow, but I wanted one that was sort of, not super big. So I took a little piece of paper, I found a scrap, and I folded it in half. And then I, in my mind, eyeballed, so what's a tooth look like? And I outlined it so you could see that that's what I ended up with as my shape for a tooth. I folded it in half because my tooth is symmetrical, although maybe not all teeth are symmetrical. But so I'm going to make my shape of what I want my tooth to be. Then I'm going to cut out my little pattern, making my own pattern, because, I like to make things here in Alameda Arts. We haven't done a sewing project. I haven't done a sewing project with my friends online in a long time.
I know, it's been a while.
So check it out. When I did it in half and then I open it up, it looks very much like a tooth. So now I have my pattern. So then I thought to myself, teeth are white, but wait a second, what if I just want a fun color? So Miss Kate gets us these wonderful soft sheets of felt, and I looked through all these colors and I thought, I really want a different color. So I picked turquoise, but I'll show you what I did. Today maybe we'll make an orange tooth. Ooh, that's very bright. I think if you used this color, the tooth fairy would have no trouble finding you.
That is very true. Yeah.
I'm going to fold my felt in half because I need two, because I'm going to sew two together to make my tooth. So two together, and I'm going to open up my pattern and I'm going to put it onto my felt. Now I like to use pins, but pins can be pokey. And so if you want to, this could be a partner project if you're a smaller friend. Ow, I just poked myself. These are very pokey pins, but they're big so you get the idea, you can see. I'm going to pin down my pattern, but if you like, we have these wonderful clips. I'm going to clip those down. They feel a little bit safer. As you know, I just poked myself. I found these really good kid scissors that are sharp. Miss Cherish had them in our sewing room. Miss Cherish, I promise I'll bring them back. Okay, so now I'm going to cut out my pattern, just carefully. I feel like it doesn't have to be perfect. You're just going for good enough. The problem with these clippy guys is that you can't obviously cut over them, so I'm going to move it over here now, oops, to hold it down. There you go. So now I'll put that aside. I'll put that in the scrap room, and I'm going to take the clips off, and I'll take the pins out. And you'll see I have two. I made two. I'm going to keep them together because now I'm going to sew them. But the next part is I have to figure out what I'm going to do for my little tooth pocket. So I think, because I want to make it easy for the tooth fairy, I'm going to pick a different color. So for my blue one, I did blue on blue, but maybe I'll move this blue pillow over here.
That's a good idea.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I think to make it easier for yourself, I would start by sewing on your little tooth pillow. I think because, let's see, if you go kind of in the middle, it doesn't really matter. You're going to just put it on there. I already had some thread ready for me. So my needle, we like to use these big needles because they're easy for little hands and maybe easier for you to see. Now I'm going to go in the bottom and I'm going to do, can you remember what this stitch is called, Miss
Are you
Kate?
doing the running stitch or are you doing a
I'm
whip
going
stitch?
to do a whip stitch.
Okay.
You're going to put a tiny little tooth inside here. So you need to make sure you keep your stitches close together or the tooth is going to fall out. And then the tooth fairy's going to be sad because she's not going to be able to find it and you're going to be sad. You don't want to be sad. Also, I'm sewing this way and knowing that the stitch is going through to the back. But if you were more comfortable, you could poke it through like this and then flip it over and then see through the shadow where it's coming and go back in that way if you are more comfortable. Friends, if you are new to sewing, you could check out our how to sew videos. They're kind of give you some basic stitch ideas for when you sew. All right, now I'm coming around the end. I want to make sure the edge is secure so that my pocket doesn't fall off. So I'm going to put a few stitches into the same place. Put 3 stitches in the same place. 1, 2, okay, and 3. Then I'm going to go back into the back because nobody will see it back here. And finish it off with a little stitch. And I'm going to give it a little trim. Okay, now I have my little pocket for my tooth. And I imagine if you're a little friend who lost your tooth, that'd be like perfect size for your little finger. Now you want your 2 teeth together. I feel like I'm going to just do a little trimmy trim right here because it's a little rough. Although, you know, it's fine. Okay. Okay, there's my tooth ready to go. I'm going to put a knot on the end of my thread so it doesn't go through. Now I'm going to have to stuff my pillow, so I'm going to pick a good spot where my fingers will fit in and it'll be easy to sew. So I'm going to choose this spot that's straight. And I think I'll clip my tooth together so that I'll remember when I get there I want to stop. But I also, when I'm sewing, I want to make sure my pieces stay together. So I'm going to clip them. Now, if you're a person that is just learning how to sew and maybe you start and your hands get tired, you could take a break and come back to it. All right, I'm going to start with my sewing. I think
And you'd started on the inside?
I put my thread on the inside. I tied my knot and I put my thread through the inside. Now I'm going to do this whip stitch. Just go on, but it's super important that you get both sides. If you're not paying attention, you could be sewing on this side, you realize you didn't catch both sides, so you need to make sure that you're getting both sides. So now I have my fluff. Okay, so I've stopped. Miss Kate, I knew when to stop because
Okay,
I had
good.
my clips, took them off, and now I'm going to use a little bit of fluff at a time because I want to get into the parts of my. I want to get
get
in.
your
What
fingers
are
all
the
the way in
roots?
there?
The roots of my tooth.
Yeah.
I'm going to get in the roots of my tooth, and then I want to get up in the crown. Remember, when you brush your teeth, brush, 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 brush. Brush your teeth.
Brush,
Brush, brush, brush, brush, brush.
That's from my
Okay, okay. And it has to be just the perfect amount of fluff for you. Do you like it really fluffy? Okay, put extra fluff in. I just want to make sure that it looks like a funny little tooth. Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh, how cute is that? This little back pocket. It's a tooth's little back pocket, like a blue jean, denim jeans. Okay, so now I've got my fluff. And then I'm going to use my clips again because I need help holding this together. I could see if you have little hands. We have some friends that are really good sewers and other friends that need a little more time to finish projects. So you could always get started and then come back to it. Okay, so now coming to the end. Dun, 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 and I'm going to put 3 stitches in the same place. That's why I like to stop my stitches. 1.
And some people like to tie a knot.
Yeah. And both are super great ways to do it. 3 stitches. Get my scissors, give it a little trimmy. Okay, now I have my friend. Now, the next, oh, that is so cute. Hello, meet a friend. Okay, the next thing you need to do, because we save, right? We just had all these scraps, and we have lots of sewing that goes on around here. We like to save our scraps. So, oops, I found some pink, and I found some black for the eyes, and I already made my face. It looks like that. Your face could look whatever it wants. This could be if you don't brush your teeth. You could make your face like this.
Sad
face.
But it should be a happy pillow.
Yeah, it's a happy pillow. There we go. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So, happy pillow, little face. Is that cute? And
Super.
you could, if you didn't have any glue, sew it on, but I would sew it all together before you stitch it all together because that would make tricky sewing. So, I've got our friend Tacky glue, which I love, and let's see, make sure the end is ready to go. Oh, is it ready to go? Ooh, it's kind of slow. So now we're going to glue our face on. I made my face the way I like it, and then I'm going to just use a little bit. I think you could use Elmer's glue. I like Tacky glue because it's kind of thicker and it holds things in place. You could also use hot glue, or you could sew it.
So many options.
Yeah. Oh, so cute. Okay, now Toothy has a friend, Toothina. Check out their little pockets. Okay, so that is how you would make a little tooth fairy pillow.
Nice.
Yeah. Friends, thank you so much for visiting us. If you happen to make one, send us a picture of it. That would be super fun. Okay, thanks for coming by to visit.
Bye,
Bye
everyone.
friends.